Hello again, guys. And yeah, I kind of like the idea of these quick videos too, but I love DIY for all of you guys, because if you don't know it, we should know it, right? And let's go ask people to do. So unfortunately, I raced motorcycles for a long time, and I cleaned air filters lots, every moto for a long time, until I got a little bit of money in my pocket and I was able to buy multiple air filters. That way I wouldn't have to clean them every moto. So anyway, I would say I'm a somewhat expert on cleaning air filters in this fashion. These are the same way. So obviously, open the hood, find your air cleaner here. Oh gosh, I'm gonna tell myself that says Corsa. But what it doesn't tell you is I actually haven't cleaned it since King of the Hammers. Shh, let me take you inside. Okay guys, I'm just gonna give you a look in there right now. Oh my gosh. I would say the pre-filter's doing its job. What I would also say is don't be like me and be that guy. Remember, change them. Every oil change, air filter gets cleaned. If you're on a dirty trail, following people for multiple days, clean your air filter. You don't want those particulates in the motor. It will eat the motor. Yes, I'm preaching to the choir, but do me a favor, follow that advice. Let me get it out and I'll show you what we're doing. So, for this job, I'm going to use a Phillips. But I'm also going to use some rubber gloves, and the reason being is the dude's going to be dirty. Okay, it's going to be real dirty. And then secondly, when you start working with the filter, it's going to have oil from the original time you put it in and oiled it last time, and so there's no reason to get that stuff on everything, because you're going to have to pick things up while you're doing it. So let's get this guy out real quick. Super simple. I'm using an impact, but you don't have to. Yours may not even have screws. This particular brand has screws. Make sure we don't follow those in. But that's what we're gonna do. And then what we're gonna do is, as soon as we get this top off, we're gonna reach down there and clean it. Get it out of there and see what we can do. So there's that. And I'm gonna cheat and do this. Okay, that works fine. And then from here, it's gonna be a funny way to get into that. So, man, but let me bring you in here, because I don't think you guys understand how good a pre-filter works, and I think right now you'll see how well they do. I think now you can see how bad the dust was there, but what you can also see is how much the pre-filter actually stops. Think about it, if that pre-filter wasn't there, that would all be on the filter itself. So this is gonna end up helping out in the long run. So remember, if you have the option to run a pre-filter, do it. And I'll show you what it is here in just a second. So, I did want to let you guys know that my band clamp that holds the filter on is an 8. Most likely yours is 2. So, once we get this out here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So it's all loose. I'm just going to go ahead and drop the filter off. It's pretty simple to get out, just like that, right? So let's take a look. Ooh. So when I'm referring to a pre-filter, this is what I'm talking about. You see this bag? It's an external bag that goes on the outside of your filter, just like that. So here it is. So you can see how terrible that filter is. Now, this needs to be washed and cleaned just like this does, okay? So what I would tell you to do first with this guy is, before you run water through it or air in it or anything, I want you to hit this bottom like on the concrete to knock as much loose stuff as you can off, and then start applying water and your cleaner and air. But I want you to remember this, please. Never force air or water in this way. Always run your water and air in this way. Do you see how clean it is in there? Do you want to force this in there? Get a close up. Oh my gosh, you see how clean that is? It's a mirror, okay? Now look at this. Okay? So do not ever run water from the outside blowing in or air blowing in. Blow in this way, forcing it all out. Let's go check it out. So a lot of these kits are the same. This is what this looks like. I'll just show you that. Okay? It's got a cleaner and an oil in there. And so basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this cleaner, right? And shake it up, and then you just wanna start spraying the outside of this thing, okay? And what this does is it helps break down the oils that are in air filter cleaner oil and the oil that you put on the outsides, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna wet this thing down and get it covered the best you can, right? I mean, because, you know, you can see it's super bad. It's gonna be really bad. I'm sorry, Ford, you know I love the Bronco, and you know I love her product, but yeah, this is letting it go a little long. So I know it was only a few thousand miles and I still haven't gotten the oil change on that because it's not ready yet, but this is for sure neglect. So anyway, we're gonna time lapse and this thing's gonna sit here for about 10 minutes, okay? Let's get rolling. Okay, you guys have to forgive me a little bit. It's still cool up here in the panhandle. So anyway, here it is, same filter. So again, whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm gonna start from the inside. And I'm just gonna, and everybody will tell you also, they'll tell you, hey, you know, you don't wanna use a high pressure nozzle on an air filter. Well, it's actually okay as long as you're shooting from the inside to the outside, guys, right? Because what are we doing? All the contaminants we're pushing outward, not inward. So just remember that. Like, so it's more than you're more than welcome to use a high pressure filter. So just remember though, that you're gonna fire outward, okay? That's it. I need some more pressure here. So now, instead of blowing all that stuff in, we're gonna blow it out. And I don't know if you can see that, but I'll show you. I'm already starting to see light all the way through the filter. So we know we're making good progress. And I just kind of try to massage it all the way around, and you guys are gonna die when you see the different color of this thing. And then again, remember, you know, always, you know, doing that will help too, you know? So some of those things stuck that you can't get out, I've bent it a little too much, but you wanna just go from the inside out. And generally what you're doing is you're just waiting, like you can see the color of the water now. Let's get it up there. So now you can see, it's clear. So that's all you want to consider. You know, you want to just make sure you get the filter clean and you let it dry. And then when you're doing this, that you're doing the best to get it all the way as high as you can. And I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be perfect, but the best you can do is the best you can do. So now, I'll show you this. I've bent it a little bit, but I'll show you this. Look how clean that filter is. Isn't it crazy? So it's not a race. Give your filters a lot of time. I'll get in here. Give your filters a lot of time to set with the chemical on them and let that chemical work, because it'll release all that oil. And then when you go to wash it out pretty simple. Now it's nice and clean. Now we just let it air dry. Here we go. So again, a lot of people, you guys want to speed the process up with air. You can use air again. Again, it's inside, outside. That's all, okay? Now it'll definitely help speed the drying process up, because these things hold a lot of water. They really do. And so just get as much as you can, not really trying to destroy the filter, but a couple passes around and then let it dry. The biggest thing is, guys, let it dry. Let it air dry, okay? That's the biggest thing. The number one thing is let it dry, guys. That was my Creepy Joe impersonation. Okay, so now fast forward about 2.5 hours is what it really took. I had it in front of the heater, but now it's pretty simple, right? So clean, filter's clean, and basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, and this is an aerosol oil, okay? This is probably the easiest part, and it's very important, right? This is what stops the contaminants from going in. You just want to make some good coverage so that those white fins are now pink, because that ensures to you that you've covered all the fins with an oil. And what that oil does is act like essentially like a glue, right? And so I'm going to go two directions. I'm going to go the sideways way I just did, and then I'm going to go upwards. And the reason why is we just want to get good coverage. Because, I mean, think about it. This is what stops everything going in to your engine. And all your engines, guys, are all fuel injected. So that's why it's super important. You don't want to get any particles into the fuel injection system, because I promise you, you don't want to pay that bill. Anyway, super simple. I'm gonna let it set for about 10 minutes to get tacky. I'll put the pre-filter back on it and we'll reinstall it and that'll be it. Okay, so we're here. Got the pre-filter installed. You can see it's just like a hairnet. And then we're simply just gonna put it back in place, right? So the biggest thing is, obviously, well, not like that, guys, sorry. Get this way. The oil, I mean, obviously makes it slick, right? And I'm not sure how this came completely undone, but it did. So anyway, now that this is back on, it's not gonna fall back off again. You just wanna drop it in there, right? And make sure that when you're seating it, you get the bottom completely covered. Because if it doesn't, you're in big trouble, guys. So what I do is I start on the bottom and then I roll it around to the top, right? If that makes sense. That way, no matter what, that this band is on the top and we know going all the way around to the base of the air filter, it's completely, and you can see I'm pushing some pressure on this backside pipe and forcing the air cleaner on. That way we ensure it gets tight because you don't want to have an air gap and drawing air in when you shouldn't be. And that's what's, I would say, the one thing that you need to watch when you're going to one of these kind of filters, because there's a very good chance that you could mess that up, okay? So just be mindful, just be slow, because it's a very deliberate act, right? We don't want to, you know, get in a position where we misalign it or don't get it on the best we can, because then you're going to take in air where you don't want to take in air at, and we'll have problems after that. Kind of getting this to start is kind of an issue, but once you get it started, it's not a real big deal at all. Let's give it one little good bump to ensure it's on. And it's there. And you want to shake it. Do shake it, because if it comes off, you didn't have it seated properly. Other than that, guys, let me throw this together and we'll close it out. So you can see, one thing I didn't cover is make sure before you put your air filter back in, clean the inside of the cavity if you need it. Also from here, I can see that I've accessed there and that the actual filter is all the way on the front of that tube coming out of the motor. So those are the one things you want to check. And then again, clean the top, make sure it's all good. But anyway, that's another one of these quick videos that you guys wanted to hear. I'm glad you guys posted them in the comments. Now you know. And so again, that's my way of doing it. I'm not a professional. I've just had some experience doing it. And so that guy runs well when I do it. It runs better. And just so you guys know, it's an important part of your maintenance. So do it. If you're going to transfer to one of these filters, which they do say gives you a little bit of gain in horsepower and throttle response, that's all fine. The biggest thing is it's a better filter. That being said, give me a hug, because remember, we want to make sure that the Bronco community gets the love they need on YouTube, because YouTube's algorithm doesn't work that way. So unless you give me a hug and tell YouTube, hey, I love Bronco content, regardless of what it is, it wants to feed you what it wants to feed. So let's beat it and say, hey, I love this content. Let's keep putting it out. This is another one of the short segments. I've got more coming. Patreon, my Instagram, it's got my link tree and all that stuff associated to it. Below in the description, you'll see the information about these parts and my shirts and hats and stuff that you can buy. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you next time. We have something crazy we're going to do to this guy. And it has to do with a box that's right over there, and I think it says Vevor 5K watt diesel generator. I don't know. Is that a diesel heater? We'll see, or you'll see next time.